Your mics were muted. There you go. Now you should be good to go.
All set?
Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the TPZ meeting of 28 January 2006 to order. Please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Noreen, can we have the roll, please?
Commissioner Kane.
Present.
Here.
Commissioner Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Pascarelli.
Here.
Chairman Sobieski.
Here.
Commissioner Woods.
Here.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Here.
Commissioner Rice Davis.
Here.
Thank you.
You're all set.
Who are we missing? We're missing,
Missing
Fox.
Fox and Minor.
okay. I'd like to appoint Peter Hoffman for Commissioner Fox. And Ally, I'm going to appoint you for Commissioner Minor. Okay? Thank you. All right, approval of the agenda, Paul?
No changes?
Okay, thank you. Public participation. This is for items that are not on the agenda. Again, not on the agenda. Anybody in the room wishing to speak?
We have people online, but they do not have their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Remarks by commissioners. Any remarks by the commissioners? Okay. Very good. Public hearings. Paul?
Yep, so I'll read the notice. So Newington Town Plan and Zoning Commission, notice of public hearing, January 28th, 2026 at 7 PM. Notice is hereby given that the Newington Town Plan and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing in council chambers room 103 at Town Hall, 200 Garfield Street, Newington, Connecticut, on Wednesday, January 28th, 2026, to consider the following petitions. Petition TPZ 2528, site plan for a 41-unit rental apartment home development under CGS Section 830G Affordable Housing Application at 103 Lewis Street in the PD Plan Developed Zone. Applicant Premier Real Estate Services 2 LLC, owner Innate Investments LLC. Contact Andrew R. Moran Esquire. The public hearing will be a Zoom webinar hybrid meeting. Information on how to attend will be posted on the town website at link follows. These petitions and related materials are available for public inspection at Town Planner's Office, Town Hall Room 204, and through the published agenda at the Town Planning and Zoning Commission Agenda Center. Link follows. Persons who require an accommodation to participate in this public hearing should contact the town planner at 860-665-8578 or townplanner@newingtonct.gov, not less than 24 hours before the public hearing. Submitted, Paul Dixon, Town Planner. This ran in the rare reminder on January 15th and January 22nd. And I'll also report that the signs are up. So that's my portion of it. So I think, do you have the procedures up there? You want to share the slide on that one? Because then it would be either reading the application title, calling the hearing to order.
All right. Right here.
The application slide before that? Or is it just no? Okay, so, all right, so if you could start for the procedures and then the title will pop up after.
Procedures for public hearings. The order of proceedings at public hearings shall be as follows. A, convening by chairperson. B, reading of the notice by the commission secretary or commissioner designated by the chairperson to act in their stead. C, presentation by applicant. D, town planner report on the application. E, persons wishing to speak in favor of the application. That would be limited to 3 minutes per person. F, persons wishing to speak in opposition to the application, also limited to 3 minutes per person. G, rebuttal by the applicant, limited to 5 minutes total. During a public hearing, it shall be within the discretion of the chairperson whether the time limitations should be varied slightly, provided the commission consents to any such variance by a majority vote. So public hearing, this is for petition TPZ 25-28, site plan for a 41-unit rental apartment home development under CGS Section 8-30G Affordable Housing Application at 103 Lewis Street in the PD Plan Development Zone. Applicant Premier Real Estate Services 2 LLC, owner Innate Investments LLC. Contact Andrew R. Moran Esquire, application received 12/10/2025, 65 days to public hearing 2/13/26.
Motions. We'll worry about that later. All right, so I will bring up the applicant's presentation.
Good evening, members of the commission. Before I jump into this, if we look familiar, myself and the team behind you look familiar, your eyes are not deceiving you. We were here a couple months ago for,
Excuse me, name and address, please.
my apologies. It's attorney Andrew Moran for the record, 20 Church Street, Hartford, Connecticut. We were here for the Kits Lane. It's the same development team as last time. We were pleased with how everything went, and we're hoping that the same goes for here. So again, Andrew Moran for the record. I'm joined by our consulting civil engineer, Daniel Ville. He's of Suvic Inc. in Rocky Hill. Our traffic engineer is Scott Hesketh of FA Hesketh and Associates in East Granby. As far as building design, we have Pat Snow with Center Point Apartments based out of Cromwell, and he's also the manager of the Premier Real Estate Services 2, which is the applicant. And we also have Mr. Joseph Versteeg. He's our code and fire safety consultant. And like last time, a quick thank you to your staff, Mr. Dixon, who took the time to go through our plans and facilitate meetings with him. We facilitated meetings together before, tonight. So we were able to iron out some technical details. So I thank him for his time. As far as procedural compliance, notices of this public hearing were published in the Rare Reminder on the 15th and the 22nd. We posted a public hearing notice sign on the property on January 14th. And notice letters were sent to abutters on January 15th. A bit about the application process to date. So the property was inspected for wetlands in August 2024. None were found, so no permit needed there. We submitted our December 8th, 2025 application materials package. It's 4 components. It's our narrative application, an affordable housing needs memo, and the other 2 are, of course, our civil and architectural plans. After that, we received staff comments on January 11th. We met with town staff on January 13th. And recently, on January 26th, we filed responses to those staff comments. We provided those in our January 26th supplemental materials, which is what I just handed out to you. An important document in those materials is Mr. Dixon's comments annotated with our responses. A lot of the suggestions are really good, and we agree to them. And we've suggested approval conditions as in tab 2 of our supplemental materials. Also a recent development, earlier this evening, we met with the fire chief to go over a few of his concerns. 2 of those we've suggested approval conditions. We'll get into this a little bit later on in the hearing. We've suggested approval conditions in tab 2 of our supplemental materials. But I'll discuss a little later on. There is another approval condition we think would satisfy his concerns. Okay, so as far as existing conditions of the property, it's 2.7 acres. It's in the planned development zone. It's an unapproved parcel. It's an open field with some vegetation to the south. The neighboring uses, it's fairly developed. There's a grocery store, there's a gym, various commercial uses in the Turnpike Plaza shopping mall. And there's also a multifamily residential development across the street. So this application tonight is for site plan approval per Connecticut General Statutes 8-30G. And again, I apologize if this is all review, but the statute provides that if a residential development will preserve 30% of the proposed units for 40 years for households earning 80% and 60% of the statewide median income, then the commission can only deny if it receives evidence at a hearing that the development will cause a substantial public health or safety concern. And that concern clearly outweighs the need for additional lower cost units in town and the region. And further, that those health and safety concerns can't be addressed by reasonable changes to the site plan. And concerns can also be addressed by approval conditions, which is something we've suggested in the past and we're suggesting tonight as well. Mr. Dixon, can you please go to slide 3, please? A bit of information about affordable housing need in Newington. So the most recent Department of Housing Affordable Housing Appeals list is from 2024. In Newington, there's about 13,000 housing units, about 700 rental assistance units, 520 units financed with CHFA mortgages. There's 36 deed restricted units. So overall, 9.73% of the units in Newington meet the statute's definition of affordable. As of 2004, the town was at 5.8%, which was roughly 12,000 dwelling units. So overall, the past 20 years, the number of dwelling units in Newington has increased 8%, but the percentage of units counted on the 10% list has only risen about 3.93%. We've included excerpts from the 2021, the town's 2021 Affordable Housing Plan. Those are part of the record. It's tab C2 of our Affordable Housing Needs Memo. And just the gist is 30% of Newington's renters are cost burdened. So our initial presentation tonight, I'm going to try to hold it less than an hour. I'll request to hold questions till the end. But Mr. Dixon, slide 4 if you could, please. A bit about the development. So we're proposing 41 units divided in 4 rows of townhouses. 39 of those units will be 2 bedrooms, and then 2 will be 3-bedroom units. The affordable units, there's going to be 13 total. There's going to be 12 of the 39 2-bedroom units will be affordable, and then 1 of the 2 3-bedroom units will be affordable. The square footage of the 2-bedroom units will range from 1,100 to 1,125 square feet, and then the 3-bedroom units will just be 1,275 square feet. In our affordability plan in our December 8th narrative, we listed amenities, finishes, and quality for all the units, and they're identical. The affordable units are evenly dispersed. We've called them out on our civil plans. A bit about income and rent limits. Mr. Dixon, slide 5, please. So the 6 2-bedroom units that are affordable will be reserved for those earning 80% of the area median income, which in this case is about $89,000 a year. The max rent for that unit would be about $1,800. The 6 2-bedroom units reserved for those earning 60% of the area median income, or approximately $67,000 a year. The max rent for that unit would be $1,500. And then finally, the 1 3-bedroom unit that will be reserved for those earning 60% of the area median income, or $78,000 a year. The max rent for that would be about $1,700 a month. And then market rate rents, a general estimate for the 2 bedrooms will be about $2,800, and then for the 3-bedroom, about $3,400 a month. So in terms of parking, we have 96 parking spaces, which considering the units, the ratio is 2.34, so more than sufficient parking. And a part of our our obligation under the statute is to, enhance our fair housing market plan and market it. We're required to market the affordable units across the regions to minorities and groups least likely to apply. We've proposed newspaper notice, not only in Newington, but abutting municipalities in the greater planning region. Mr. Dixon, the next slide, please. So why is this location an appropriate place for a multifamily residential community? Well, it's proximate to a grocery store, a gym, a variety of commercial retail uses at the shopping plaza at 192 Kitts Lane. There's a few restaurants nearby, a public park, a couple of public parks, actually. It's close to nearby CT Transit bus stops along Louis Street. It abuts another multifamily development, and it's an underutilized parcel in a rather fairly developed and emerging neighborhood that we think a multifamily development would work quite nicely. So with that, I want to invite Mr. Snow from Center Point Apartments. He's going to walk you through a little bit about the building design and some of the floor plans.
Good evening, Commissioners. Patrick Snow.
Your address, please.
I'm sorry.
Your address.
Business or personal home? What would you like? 110 Court Street, Cromwell, Connecticut is my
Thank you.
office address. So yeah, I just wanted to walk through the handout you had with the units and the unit design, and just to say, putting these units, we try to make them as efficient as possible, both for the people's comfort and to provide a need. We find the need for people in the area as not something overly large, but something for them to enjoy and be spacious enough. So we come through, all the units have garages with the exception of two. The two units that are ADA do not have attached garages. We find that as one of the features that people do like with the weather in the winter, be able to drive right into your unit, walk into the kitchen and go, not have a garage out into the elements, into the open. The other features that we like to include is 2.5 baths in all the units. This allows us for people who are younger professionals that maybe aren't related, that have their own spaces, they have their own bathroom, and allows them to be able to move into Newington and give an option to become a little bit more affordable than some of the other units if they just were living on their own. If we can go through the particulars, but all the units have bathroom, laundry facilities in the units, all the kitchen appliances, refrigerator, stove, dishwasher, disposal, microwave. One bedroom has a walk-in closet. The other bedroom has a regular closet. There's a tub and a shower in each of the units. They're all electric heat pumps. We've worked with the electric utility company to make them as efficient as possible. We do apply and do qualify for the electric rebates for the electric home rebates, working with Eversource. So it keeps the monthly, we had this discussion earlier, of monthly income of the electric bills on average around $150 a month, which again helps with affordability, helps with people's bills, assuming that the power company doesn't go up too much more on their bills. As far as the other features, it's going to be all the LVT flooring throughout the units, oak hardwood, oak treads on the stairs, tile in the bathrooms, and all updated kitchens and sinks and appliances. Happy to walk through if there's any particular questions, but I just wanted to give a general overlay of the units.
Up next, I had request Mr. Daniel Ville. He's our consulting professional engineer. He'll walk you through a little bit more of the particulars of the site plan. Mr. Dixon, so beat me to it.
Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Daniel Ville from Zuvik Inc., 40 Cold Spring Road in Rocky Hill. So if you've, let's see, where's Paul have up the site plan? If you refer to sheet SP1 in your plan packet, in laying out this site, we consulted with the MDC and they have confirmed water and sewer availability to this site. We're proposing all underground utilities on this site. including electric, water, sewer, and communications. So as Andrew mentioned, there's 96 total parking spaces, which outnumbers the bedrooms in this in the development. So there will be ample parking. At the northern portion of the site, we have a common building for mailroom and office management space. And the site is pedestrian friendly. There's a sidewalk that traverses the site, and there will be a crosswalk on Lewis Street, crossing to the north to connect the site to existing sidewalks. Paul, can we go to slide 9 to show the landscape plan? So we have a tentative planting plan shown here. There will be some site trees to provide screening, and as we addressed in our letter to the town planner, we've actually added some screening to this landscape plan as a condition of approval. The site has a drainage system which collects and detains and infiltrates stormwater runoff so that there will be no discharge in excess of the current condition up to and including the 100-year storm. The impervious coverage of the site in the proposed condition is 65%. And we've also taken into consideration access for emergency vehicles. The site has 2 driveways, so vehicles can enter and exit without turning around. And we've shown a turnaround hammerhead in the northeast corner, which, as after a discussion with the fire chief, we'll actually will add a pervious paver to the east side to allow fire trucks to exit the northeast corner without making a turnaround. So there'll be no 3-point turn necessary in this site for emergency vehicles. See, that's shown in slide 10. Yeah, there it is, right? So the turnaround that you see there, the K-turn in the northeast corner, we actually propose to eliminate so that the turnaround will not be required. We'll shrink that to accommodate delivery vehicles, but emergency vehicles will be able to exit freely. Can we go to slide 11? In accordance with the Connecticut standards for stormwater discharge and construction stormwater discharge, we've provided a sediment and erosion control plan. Soil stockpile areas are shown, silt fence is shown, protection of storm drain inlets is shown, and the clearing limits are shown on that plan as well. That erosion and sedimentation control plan is prepared in accordance with the Connecticut Deep Stormwater Quality Manual. And I think that's all the features I'd like to highlight. So in my professional opinion, the development can be built without adverse impact to public health and safety.
Thank you. Up next, I'd request Mr. Scott Hesketh of PE, professional engineer with F.A. Hesketh and Associates, will discuss his traffic report.
Good evening. For the record, Scott Hesketh. I'm a licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut, the firm of F.A. Hesketh and Associates. Our office is in East Granby, Connecticut. And I'm the author of the December 4th, 2025 Traffic Impact Report, which has been submitted in support of this application. We were asked to take a look at the potential trip generation and traffic impacts of this proposed development and to prepare an analysis of our findings. And that's what's expressed in our report. In order to do that, we typically look at the Connecticut Department of Transportation's traffic count system. Unfortunately, they don't have any counts in the immediate vicinity of this particular site. So we arranged for the installation of an automated traffic volume counter on Lewis Street, west of Pascone Place, during the month of April of 2025. The counter was in place for 7 full days. We observed an average daily traffic volume of just over 6,000 vehicles, the morning peak hour of 374 vehicles, an afternoon peak hour of 619 vehicles, and a Saturday peak hour of 559 vehicles. In addition, we arranged for the conduct of manual turning movement counts at the intersection of Lewis Street and Pascone Place during the morning, afternoon, and Saturday peak periods as well. Those counts were also conducted during the month of April. We used a 1% per year growth rate to grow the observed traffic volumes to a design year of 2028. And that's the background year for the analysis contained in our report. In terms of the site generated traffic for the proposed development, we use the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Report, standard engineering reference, which is based on traffic volume counts conducted at existing facilities. And allows engineers and planners to estimate the traffic from new developments based on traffic observed at existing facilities. The proposed 41 unit development here, we're projecting a total of 351 trips on a daily basis, 27 trips during the morning peak hour, 27 trips during the afternoon peak hour, and 20 trips during the Saturday peak hour. We distributed that traffic to the local roadway network with the directional distribution was 60% oriented to and from the east on Lewis Street, heading toward the Berlin Turnpike. We had 15% oriented to and from the west on Lewis Street, headed toward Willard Avenue, and 25% of the traffic to and from the south on Pascone Place, again, heading back toward the shopping centers and the Berlin Turnpike. We conducted capacity analysis calculations at the intersection of Lewis Street and Pascone Place and at the 2 proposed site driveways. The results of that analysis are presented in Table 3 in our report. The results indicate that under the combined traffic volume conditions, all movements at the intersections will operate at about the same level of service as in the background conditions. With increased delays of less than 1 second per vehicle on average on all the approaches at the intersection of Lewis Street and Pascone Place and Foxborough Drive. The 2 site driveways, all movements at the site driveways will operate at levels of service A or B during peak hours, meaning average vehicular delays of less than 15 seconds per vehicle. We had the opportunity to look at the available intersection site distances at the 2 proposed site driveways.
Sorry, go ahead. Good, I'm listening.
Our observations indicate that site distances in excess of 450 feet are available at the driveways, or at least extend to the intersection of Lewis Street and Pascone Place. Those site distances are adequate for 85th percentile speed of 40 miles per hour. And when we conducted our tube counts in April, we also conducted speed counts on Lewis Street. And we found the 85th percentile speeds to be 37 miles per hour in the eastbound direction and 40 miles per hour in the westbound direction. In response to staff comments, we did prepare some intersection site distance plans, both for the site driveway on Lewis Street, indicating we have the available site distances. There's plan and profile presented there based on the LiDAR maps. We also looked at the stopping site distances for vehicles both entering and exiting the Lewis Street driveway. And again, in response to staff comments, we are proposing a crosswalk across Lewis Street at the site driveway location. We will install, there's a sidewalk proposed on our side of the street with a accessible ramp approaching Lewis Street. We will construct another ramp on the north side of Lewis Street, connect it with a crosswalk, painted crosswalk. We look at the stopping site distances for vehicles approaching that crosswalk to make sure that if anyone crossing at that location happens to fall down in the street, that vehicles can see someone crossing in that location and have plenty of time to stop. So we believe that that crosswalk is located in a safe location. Town staff has asked that we install a RRFB, a rectangular rapid flashing beacon at that location. The applicant has indicated we're more than happy to do so, provided we obtain approval from the Office of the State Traffic Administration, who has to approve such things even on local roadways. So it's my professional opinion, based on the background traffic volumes that we observed in the field, based on the site generated traffic proposed from this development, based on the capacity analysis calculations, which we've outlined in our report. It's my professional opinion that the proposed development can be built without adverse impact to public health and safety of the traveling public. The commission has any specific questions related to traffic, I will be here to answer them at the appropriate time. And now I'll turn the microphone back over to our MC.
Thank you very much. Up last on our team is Mr. Joseph Versteeg of Versteeg Associates LLC. He is our fire safety and code compliance expert.
Good evening, Joe Versteeg, 86 University Drive, Torrington, Connecticut. Previously, you were submitted in a package my letter of December 3rd regarding this project, as well as my CV. I'm the principal of Versteeg Associates. We're an independent consulting firm specializing in building and fire code compliance, as well as accessibility, and we've been retained by the applicant in this matter. I have reviewed the site and development plans, as well as the architectural floor plans and elevations prepared for this project, and determined them to be compliant with the 2021 International Residential Code portion of the 2022 Connecticut State Building Code. Interesting enough, these buildings are designed in accordance with the 2021 International Residential Code portion of the building code. And as such, fire department access requirements for vehicles in the 2022 Fire Safety Code and 2022 Connecticut Fire Prevention Code are not applicable to this project. That said, fire department access, as shown on the plans and as modified or enhanced, as you heard in previous testimony, does comply with the 2022 Connecticut Fire Safety Code if it were to be applicable. And we've also satisfied some requests made by the fire chief. It's my professional opinion that the proposed residential development does not result in an adverse impact to a substantial public interest in health, safety, or welfare. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them. Thank you.
All right, I have a few closing remarks, but before I do, I promised I would shed a little bit more light at the start of this meeting about our conversation with the fire chief. Now, Mr. Dixon, can you go to, I believe it's the first slide. It's the layout of our site plan.
So what I'll actually do is I will bring up the site plan itself, if you don't mind.
Thanks. Yeah, just the general layout would be great. So his concerns really boil down to three aspects. The first, you heard Mr. Ville talk about changing the proposed K turnaround at the northern portion of the site. Hold on, if you scroll up a little bit. What we proposed is, instead of making that a turnaround, just extending it onto Pascone Place. We have language explaining exactly how we're going to do that in our supplemental materials. The other thing was portions of the driveway. If you scroll, Mr. Dixon, if you scroll down, portions of the driveway that are 22 feet apart. Well, we believe this is adequate from a fire safety perspective. We're agreeing to add 3 feet of, I believe it's pervious pavers. I have the exact verbiage in here, but essentially giving the fire trucks a little bit more room if they did have to go around each other, that they wouldn't be, running up on a curb or dirt. So those are two of his concerns that we've addressed. The final one has to do with, that we discussed tonight, has to do with the sufficiency of flows from the water pipe to our fire hydrants. Whether testing has been performed to make sure that's there's sufficient fire flow. So what we've proposed as an approval condition is that we will conduct flow testing in cooperation with the MDC to verify a minimum combined flow of 1,000 gallons per minute or a lesser flow rate as acceptable to the fire chief. In other words, we know that this development, we want it to operate as safely as possible. We think getting the testing done and making sure it's okay with the fire chief would absolve his concerns there. And Mr. Dixon was in on the meeting too. I'm not trying to put any words in anyone's mouth. If I misstated something, I'm sure he will correct me. But so those are the three suggested approval conditions with respect to fire safety. Now, excuse me, bear with me. So why, at the end of the day, we believe you should approve this. We think they're attractively designed buildings. They'll provide much needed housing. They'll be safe. As you've heard tonight, they'll be code compliant, energy efficient. The 2020 Plan of Conservation and Development and the 2021 Affordable Housing Plan all recognize the need for more affordable housing. A team of experts have opined that the proposed community is safe. And just to recap, the 830G denial burden can only be denied under state law if it poses a public health or safety concern that outweighs the local and regional need for more lower cost housing, and that further those concerns cannot be addressed by reasonable changes to the site plan. So that's our application. We really believe in it, and we request approval. We are available for questions, and thank you again for your time. I think I stuck to my hour mark, so. Thank you. Yes.
Yep. So
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When you're talking about the hammerhead and you're going to extend it out to Pascone Place?
Correct, as an emergency gated access. So it's not going to be another driveway. There'll be a gate.
Okay. Now, will that be a locked gate or will it be just make it more difficult for somebody to get out of their car? Or is it going to be locked?
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, I'm thinking if they put just a slide thing in place that just has to be moved, gate opens, they're through.
So what we're proposing is a gate that is lockable. We would work with the fire chief to add a Knox box to that. So it can be a lockable gate that is only open, can only be opened by emergency personnel.
Okay.
A Knox box is sort of like a key that the fire department has for their use.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioners? Commissioner Hoffman? I'm sorry, Commissioner Harpy.
Just have a question on the erosion and control plan. The town planner had indicated that the perimeter stabilization during construction behind units 1 through 13 may warrant boring. So I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Sure. So the site to the south is actually up gradient of us. So if there is any flow of sediment, it'll be toward our site, not away from our site. So that's why there's no silt fence shown on that side. If the concern is about access, we would propose like an orange construction fence, so a non-access line. But as from a sedimentation control standpoint, putting the silt fence uphill of us won't have an impact or a benefit.
It's just a broad general question, if I might. When you go to hook up to MDC's water line, bring it into the units, how much of a distance is that would you anticipate? How would that impact the current situation?
Sure. So if you turn to the utility plan, maybe 4 or 5 pages back, it's labeled UP1, utility plan 1. You'll see the proposed water line. We connect in the southeast corner to an existing water line in Pascone Place. And it's on the same side of the street as us. So the trench in Pascone Place is only maybe 5 by 10 feet. So it's a small trench in Pascone Place for us to connect. And then we, in this system, do not propose to close the loop. So that's our only connection point for the water.
So there won't be any real issue in terms of construction. No 10 feet of football length situations.
No, I'm not even sure this will be one-way traffic. I think this will be two-way traffic during construction potentially.
Heather, I'd like to bounce back to traffic. We're good. Has there been any?
It might be him. Go ahead.
Tell me when you're ready. Just had a question. I just want to make sure I understand what you reviewed for us, presented to us. If a person or a number of cars is heading east on Lewis. Okay, and they've crested up to the top. We see in the police department sees this, I know they do. There's a lengthy backup of traffic. It either comes out of the grocery store or it comes off another feed street onto St. Louis. So is this gonna not complicate that situation? You're putting another 50 or 100 cars on the road? I'm not suggesting they're all gonna get on the bike, but I'm saying if they wanna get there, it's cumbersome as it is.
Well, we are adding development, so there will be additional traffic to the local roadway network, certainly. We're looking at a peak hour of about 30 trips, maybe 20 to 22 of them heading in that direction. So yes, there'll be more traffic through the intersection through those intersections up by the.
Recommendations of DOT, how that can be improved.
I
Get up on the bike.
I don't know if it can be. It's you've got
We have that.
the signalized intersection with lots of lanes, the very short section. And then you got the intersection of Lewis Street. It's a,
And if you go to make a left, you have a lot of courage.
it's a difficult situation. And yes, we'll be adding some traffic to it. It will get a little bit worse, but the volumes are pretty low.
You know, and I'm not saying you created these issues, but there's a very popular restaurant which leases spots in the grocery store parking lot. I mean, that's how well they do. And as those people come out periodically, some of them go back to Springfield or New York, so they're definitely going east up Lewis Street again. I'm not trying to imply that everybody that you built a unit for is going to be on the street at the same time, but. Well, you answered my question. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Commissioner Kane, any questions?
Oh, yeah. As of December 8th, 2025, what percent of Newington's housing stock was affordable?
So 2020. So the Department of Housing releases a list each year. The 2025 list has not been dropped yet. The most recent one we have in what governs our affordable housing application is the 2024 list.
And when are those numbers current to?
The percentage of units that meet the state's definition of affordability as of 2024.
What date?
I'm not certain if it's just like the end of the traditional December 31st.
Is it September?
December.
Are we using numbers from September of 2024?
These are the most current numbers that are provided from the Department of Housing.
Right. How many affordable housing units have been built since those numbers were released in Newington?
Oh, there's the Department of Housing might know. I'm not certain.
So it's possible, you don't know that we're not over 10% yet?
It wouldn't matter because the law that governs this application is as of the 2024 date. The 2024 list, excuse me.
What's the citation for that?
8-30G.
So it says specifically that the only number we can consider is the number published on that list. So if we built 1,000 affordable units, we as the commission wouldn't be allowed to consider that.
Not for our purposes of our application, no. No, and the reason for that is, you know, we came in here a couple months ago and we did get an approval. The Department of Housing credits a unit as meeting the state's definition of affordable once a certificate of occupancy has been issued. The problem with calculating the affordable units is that deed restrictions expire, right? Some of them expire in 40 years. Mortgage financing can change. That makes a unit affordable. So that's why the DOH waits at the end of every year. And I'm certain within a couple of weeks, the 2025 list will drop. But for purposes of this application, the 2024 is what controls.
Mr. Chair, have we talked to the town attorney about this issue? And could we possibly continue this hearing to consult
We'll
with
make
him?
that decision in a little while. Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis, any questions?
Yes,
ahead.
kind of going off of that. Are you going, and I apologize if I didn't hear you mention this, but are you going to be accepting tenants who have like federal housing assistance? Because I know in the statute 830G, affordable housing is different from assisted housing as it's defined. And assisted housing deals with somebody's receiving like help from the federal government or state government to pay for rent. So I was just wondering if you're going to be accepting those kinds of tenants and applicants.
So by our affordability plan, what controls is someone's income. If someone is getting that type of or funding, then it frankly wouldn't matter to the type of the law of our affordability plan has to do with someone's income. With respect to assisted housing, that has to do with whether a development is financed through, as you said, different state programs. So the answer to your question, I suppose, is yes, we may. But at the end of the day, what our affordability plan focuses on is income.
And then I'm not sure if there's something in the statute that discusses this requirement, but you mentioned newspaper ads, and like I don't even get a newspaper. So it doesn't seem like that's an efficient or sufficient way of getting the word out that there's going to be like some affordable housing units in this apartment complex. So I was wondering if you could point to somewhere in the law that you know that I could go look up later, or if you have any other ideas that you could come up with advertising, because I don't know. I feel like newspapers are just not good enough.
This is traditionally how, and it's been accepted for various commissions and by the state as an appropriate way to market the affordability component. Go ahead.
We talked about this a little. Patrick Snow, again, from Premier Real Estate. That was just one method to market. So the marketing is going to be internet, it's going to be newspapers, it's going to be flyers, it's going to be a lot of different avenues. The discussion we had prior to this was, will you include newspapers? So that's why it was brought up. So yes, we will include news, but I agree with you. It might get to 6 people, but this way we've got everything covered. There was even mention of, maybe doing flyers in some of the local areas.
Great, thank you.
Sir?
Yeah.
Commissioner Woods?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one question for the applicant. On the hammerhead that's going to get, I guess not eliminated, but reduced, what would be the reduction? You're going to obviously don't need it to be the length that it is for the fire truck, but what would be it reduced to from what it is now? Sticking into, going to the north? 5 feet, 10 feet, or is it going to stay the same?
For the record, Danville from Zuvik. So Commissioner Woods, what we would propose is an SU, like an SU-40 vehicle. So like a box truck, a delivery vehicle, maybe an Amazon delivery vehicle, or even a school bus. Not significantly, but a little bit smaller than a fire truck. So the hammerhead shape that you see there might shrink down to 20 feet in width or 18 feet in width instead of what I think is 24 or 26. So it's just a slight reduction because the largest vehicles are no longer going to be utilizing it.
But the depth stays the same? To the north, that stays the same?
I haven't done that calculation yet, but
Okay,
I
okay.
imagine it could get a little bit shorter, which would actually afford us the opportunity to adjust the planting plan to be more, even symmetrical. So I'll have to do the analysis on that vehicle.
All right, thank you. And then my last question is, I know that the town planner sent out the supplemental information to all of us earlier in the day. I wondered maybe it would be helpful if the applicant just kind of went through it, not in great detail, but a lot of these items that are being questioned right now, you've addressed it. And if we could, just highlight that again quickly, that, upon approval, you've agreed to these conditions for all the questions that the planning department came up with. I think it would be helpful to the commission and the public, whoever's listening.
Sure, Commissioner Woods. I'll take that. So I'll give you a bit of an example. So a lot of the approval conditions are related to kind of technical parts of the plan. Like I'll use, I'm at tab 2, the first page of tab 2 of our supplemental materials. The comment is include the live signature on the survey. So we went ahead and did that. Another one, an easement is notated on the Schedule A. It appears to be a blanket easement. If so, it should be noted on the survey. We agree this is something that we did. So that's why we suggested it as an approval condition. So that's just kind of an example of some of the, the technical comments that we think could be, easily addressed with an approval condition. We work with town staff afterwards. Same thing with the, if listed species have been identified, we provided an NDDB map. The reason why we brought the proposed modification to the turnaround and adding some pervious pavers to the sides of the roadways for better fire truck movement and the crosswalk is because we feel those are maybe a bit more than technical. Those are, we think are good improvements to the plan that will enhance it. So that's why we called those out specifically. Commissioner Woods, does that answer your question, or
Yeah,
do you want me to go through it more? Or?
No, well, the concern is, and maybe this goes to the planner also, is let's say this continues to move forward. Okay, it's moving in the direction that you would like to go in. And I'm not saying it's going to, but let's just say that's where it's going. Paul, are you okay? Like who like landscape? We'll use that one, right? Because that one's kind of an open item. They've agreed to add some stuff. So are we going to leave it up to you, or do we need them to adjust the plans and come back in? I'm trying to figure out how the process is going to move forward efficiently here.
Yep, I think
without
I can
dragging it out.
Yep, I can answer kind of to that. And that's actually kind of a question of staff too, with the applicant. Sometimes we have gotten revised plans. This one, we did get the responses, which were, commitments and to move forward on a lot of items with conditions. That is up to the commission on what you need to see to, look at the health and safety impacts of this application. So it is, is the just saying, we'll work on these and then putting it on staff's responsibility to kind of work with the applicant and come up with something, or is it something that the commission wants to actually review and potentially should review? There are some specific items and like the crosswalk, for example, that's a newer item. I haven't been able to actually, so the town engineer has not been able to review the supplemental submission yet. It just came in Monday. We were closed Monday due to the storm. And he had other time commitments out of the office that he wasn't able to review it. So I don't have his input on that as well. But it really is that question of how comfortable is the commission with these conditions and saying, yes, staff can handle this, or are there items here specifically, like the landscaping, for example, that's adding extra buffers. I think that's a great idea. I very much appreciate the applicant looking at that. Again, it's that quality of life for the applicants on a couple of different spots, but the sidewalk, the sidewalk and the crosswalk, for example, that's something that if it does the commission feel that they need to see it a little more in depth, do you need a review from the LTA, local traffic official, local traffic authority, and the review of the town engineer that kind of opines on that as well? Or is it a just figure it out type of later thing, which does have its issues in itself? It's a long answer to a short question, but
All right, so I'm gonna try, and you did, I think I know, but I'm still trying. I don't want to end up with like 45 conditions, right?
Mhm.
That, you know, is approval upon this. How can we narrow that down? Is it a blanket? Then maybe we signal out a couple items that we want to see prior to the commission approves it, and the rest we allow staff to make the appropriate decisions. You know, personally, do I think we need to get involved in where the shrubs and where the trees go that are going to be added? No. I mean, that's a decision that you and the applicant, and this applicant, we've worked with them before. They've been very agreeable to us. If you remember on the Kits Lane project, the roads were an issue and they added additional pavers there, even though they didn't think it was required or needed, but they went ahead and did that to please the commission and the fire chief. There was a great deal of discussion I remember about. That was probably the single biggest issue is the road width. And they did what was required. Also some of the sight lines. So if I remember right, was a stop sign was relocated to accommodate the sight lines because we weren't happy with it. I don't want to read like 30 to 40 different conditions. And then also that adds a big burden as far as I'm concerned for you and Eric when it comes time to approve all this, you know, in the field.
yeah, and I agree. There is, when you have a lot of conditions, there sometimes is a lag between back and forth, and it can draw things out further for an applicant. So that, again, that's the process of how much is put on staff. Again, landscaping, that's a pretty simple item. The crosswalk, pedestrian safety, access, that's something that, you know, the commission, you know, whether you feel that's in your purview to kind of see, which I think it is in your purview to see the plan and kind of evaluate it. But how much do you want to leave to staff for that? And again, I can come back with more staff reviews on it. Again, it's a newer item, but it is something that they've agreed to do. That you'll actually see in the, and actually, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, since we didn't go directly into the town planner's report, I'll kind of opine a little right now, if that works for you.
Yeah, because
I just wanted to make sure that you had questions back and forth.
Well, no, I have a couple other questions, but if
Okay.
you want to go there first, that's up to you.
No, I would say ask the questions while they're fresh in your mind.
You all set, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good now, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. For Scott, I have a question on the crosswalk you're going to put in rapid flashing beacons on both sides of the crosswalk or just one?
Again, for the record, Scott Hesketh, the typical design is you put a pedestrian push button on both sides of the roadway, so people crossing in either direction can push the button.
Right.
The flashing will be on both sides, both directions,
Okay.
and alert
That's what I
drivers
was-
to know that
That's
someone's
what I was
crossing.
wondering, because I
Yes.
just didn't want, you know, coming down, I remember correctly, coming down Lewis Street, you got a pretty good shot, but coming up Lewis Street eastbound, there's a curve that you're going around.
Yeah, and we've got plenty of stopping sight distance for anyone who falls down in the roadway at that location, so you can see and be seen. And the installations these days, they're solar powered, and they have radio control frequencies, so you don't have to dig across the roadway. You can just insert the two pedestals on one on either side of the roadway, and the two will talk to each
Rapid
other.
Flashing beacons.
That's correct, yes,
All right,
Yep.
thank you.
certainly.
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
If I could just add something, I'm not sure if this might clarify my point for Commissioner Woods, but you know, we spent a lot of time going through the town planner's comments and responding. I think one of the important purposes of it is if the commission has some sort of concern with the layout that comes up at the hearing tonight, if in your judgment, you think there's something, there's most likely 99% chance an approval condition in here that we've proposed to address it. So our purpose in submitting this is more or less to already have something on the books of a way we propose to approve potential conditions. Staff has done a great job going through the plan and flagging potential problems. To the extent that they resonate with the commission, we suggest them as approval conditions. So I'm not sure if that is
We
helpful.
just got this tonight. Yeah, so.
I get it. Fair enough.
So this is what I picked up off this conversation. One one more quick thing about the lockbox that you're gonna put up on the gate for Pascone Place. Have you thought about putting some addition, this is for the engineer. Have you thought about putting some additional signage up there?
For the record, Danville. Yeah, the signage will add, no parking, emergency
No,
vehicles
I'm
only.
Referring to the gate itself so that people don't try to drive through it or drive around it. We've had that issue with one of the other condominiums up there in,
Churchill.
yeah, no, not Churchill, one up off Kitts Lane here. I forgot that big condo complex up there.
Glen Oaks.
Well,
Well-
yes, we've had that where they put gates and people have driven around it. That's what I'm asking.
I can't imagine this is an attractive route, seeing it's such a small complex, but I do understand your concern. So we can include the signage and also, either side of this is grass. One side of it has curb, so it's really, like I said, it's not an attractive route, and the signage is fine. We'd be happy to add those.
because they put rocks up there and people still drove around. That's all I'm saying. Don't make me laugh too much, Scott, please. The other one I did have on the block pavers that you're gonna put in. Is that gonna be allowed grass to go through it, or is it just gonna be solid pavers?
Typically, the pervious pavers can be installed to allow the grass to grow, especially in the areas like this emergency access that are not going to get any vehicle traffic. Those can be the grass pavers, yeah.
And one more thing, snow storage. We just had a huge dropping of snow here. And where in this plan are you gonna store snow? I mean, I don't wanna know, I'm just asking, do you have a roughly idea?
Sure. So we have already, I've prepared, but have not submitted a snow storage plan that shows the areas throughout the site where snow can be stored. They add up in total to about a half an acre. That was my rough calculation, but they're all through the site. So there's substantial snow storage on this.
See, I thought if as Commissioner Woods says, pointing at the northern tier back where the turnaround is, you'd have a little more storage space for snow. And I'm just concerned here that, if it gets too much snow, we have to truck it out or something. Like we're having right now. I think that was about all the questions I had. Yeah, any other questions? Yes, Commissioner.
Just a
Harvey.
quick one. I've always relied on the town planner's memorandum as a guiding light in terms of issues that had to be resolved or have been resolved in real time. We've taken it off of that, like we did with your previous project. I thought that worked out pretty well. And the other thing is the snow. Are you adding visitor spots? You're stepping those up? Did I read that somewhere?
I mean, there are visitor spaces along the northern property boundary. There's,
So I suppose you
yeah.
would cone those off in a bad winter storm and do some plowing in there.
It's certainly possible. I mean, like I said, there is a half acre of snow storage area that I identified just
I'm not
off the
making, I
pavement.
just thought I read that you were putting some additional visitor spots. I thought maybe that's where some of that snow was. It's not a big deal. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I'm
Commissioner
looking
Davis.
on the original application booklet, the page 9 with the aerial view. How far are the CT Transit bus stops? Can anybody answer that?
Oh, they're
They look far away, but are they closer?
not, they're, I think maybe 0.1, 0.2 miles.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was
No,
just,
they're
they
not
look
very
very
far.
far. Okay, cool. Thank you. That was it.
Any other questions? You all set, Commissioner Davis? I was thinking, at some point, maybe Price Chopper's gonna move. So that might be a suggestion that you contact DOT. And if that does happen, move the bus loop around in front of this instead of in there. You don't know what's gonna go in that shopping center. It's only a suggestion. I'm just, because I did hear that they may move and at buses, they go in to drop people off the Price Chopper. So if they close, is that bus stop still gonna stay there or not? That's my question. You might want to contact DOT. I think it's, the bus section down there and ask, Connecticut Transit. Yes.
Yeah, I apologize, Mr. Chairman. Could you just explain that one more time to me?
Okay, if Price Chopper closes,
Yes.
okay, and the buses, right now, there's a bus stop there for Price Chopper. That's what it's preliminary there for. If that closes, will they still have bus service there? Or maybe suggest to put the bus service down along Pascone, service your development.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd say is that's one of the issues with bus routes is they're ever changing. You know, it depends on the
Well,
demand.
Condot puts the bus service where it's needed. So if it does, if it's not needed at Price Chopper, they may take that stop away.
Mhm.
I'm just suggesting that maybe you should make them aware of this, see what they say.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I do agree with you that they're probably gonna, if a store does close, they'll probably eliminate that stop within the Price Chopper parking lot. But there's also a bus stop at the intersection of Willard and Lewis Street that's been there for 50 years. I don't imagine them doing away with that.
no,
Been
I,
there for ages.
right, I don't imagine them doing away with that one, but I'm saying with this one here, there's a loop that goes right around the front.
Mhm.
So I would be advantageous because you would have that loop still swinging around instead of in Price Chopper's area parking lot, you'd have it out and say like in front of this development or somewhere in that area. That's all I was concerned with.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
in the supplemental materials that you received from the applicant tonight, you can see, starting on page 4 and 5, it really does address this, pedestrian kind of question. And staff did, again, it wasn't one where we specifically prescribed do this. It's just the conditions of, ending directly in the roadway was a safety concern, safety hazard. So looking forward, we had 3 different kind of recommendations, and one of those was that potentially to reach out to DOT. So you can kind of, again, this is in front of you tonight. You can see all staff comments and the responses to them as well. I just kind of wanted to point that out because it was a very poignant on the comment that was just made.
Okay.
And if I could, I'd just kind of go into, we covered a lot of items for the planner's report on this application. The applicant has, agreed to make many changes to the plan, which do improve it. There were some additional comments that I had in the staff report to the applicant, the initial staff comments, kind of regarding the ISD and SSD on Pascone Place. So the applicant answered Lewis Street. We see all those documents there. Just the one thing that we noticed that was kind of missing in the report is kind of addressing the driveway on Pascone. There are pretty decent sightlines in this area. Again, meeting with the applicant, they've kind of expressed that. Our town engineer has looked at it the kind of same way. He said, yep, it does, but it is something that should be looked at as part of the application. So that's one of the items that was in the staff comments that wasn't necessarily addressed. The soil stockpile areas, I think it was noted a little earlier that they might have been in there. So that was one of the staff comments. They actually aren't included on the plans. So this just goes to kind of that during construction, we know everything kind of moves around a little bit, but this is that kind of feasibility during construction. Where are they going to be located? And have, because it's the commission's responsibility to review the erosion and sedimentation control plan and certify it as just general E&S guidelines. So that's one thing that is missing from that plan. So that's something that we would like to see on there as well and should be on there to be a plan that is endorsed and certified by the commission. One item that did come up, noted too, that Attorney Moran did note was kind of that flow testing. So that's something we did talk about with the fire chief as well today. The applicant did submit in their supplemental submission. You can see the MDC's letter on that one, and the MDC does recommend flow testing as part of that. They'll give you kind of the generals of their system, but they won't necessarily say this is the exact amount of water that's available in this one pipe, which is a little frustrating for applicants and does create that back and forth on the part of it with working with the MDC, but that flow testing kind of verifies. So that would be something, whether it's a question of the commission is comfortable with that type of condition. In talking with the fire chief, with what's built in the area, there should be there. Again, you have condos in the area, you have multiple commercial and industrial users kind of on the same line, but we don't just have that confirmation, and the MDC kind of gives themselves that extra little protection and saying, yes, here are the numbers, we have an A and C for this, but it should be verified. So they have that in there as well. That was something that was communicated to the applicant earlier, a little earlier on in the process. So those are kind of those areas. And, talking about the snow storage, a main issue that I think the commission kind of looks at when you're looking at snow storage is just to make sure there's adequate places on site that aren't narrow strips, because we see what happens. The reality with snow storage is you have a lot of areas on plan. The plow driver is going to push it to the area at the end of the line where it's most reasonable to push it. We see the piles. And I think the main concerns about snow storage from a safety perspective are just making sure they don't end up too much at the end of site driveways, or that's the only place to put it. So the pile would get so large, it causes a sightline issue. Again, we've had many years with very little snow, but we have a very, the reminder is in our face outside right now that we had to deal with it, why we were closed on Monday. So that's kind of the snow storage aspect of the review for the commission and why it is a site plan requirement. And it's a basic site plan requirement for Newington.
What's the commission's pleasure? You want to keep this open?
Mr. Chairman, it
Oh,
is a public hearing. I don't know.
That's right.
Yep. So
Okay. All set. Anybody wishing to speak in favor of this?
There's one person with their hand raised online.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for your time. This is Karen Serio. I am at 74 Fox Run Court in Newington, just across from the Pascone Place, Lewis Street intersection on the Foxborough side. I am speaking for this apartment building and do appreciate that includes affordable housing. I do have some concerns. A lot of them have been addressed in the thorough review. I just want to call attention that there have been accidents exactly in that area from Pascone to Foxborough. Many people consider the stop sign a suggestion, and unfortunately there have been accidents there. So I don't have an exact number, but that would be helpful to know. And I do appreciate that there is going to be the rapid flashing beacon just down the street for both sides for everyone to be safe. And so I just wanted to call that to your attention. I think that's it. Again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate all you do with all the details, and that everyone is diligent looking at all of the information. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No one online has their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone in the room wishing to speak in favor of this? All right. Hearing none. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please come up and state your name and address for the record.
I have someone online that has their hand raised. Go ahead, Ms. Balfour.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Karen Balfour. I'm over in the Hunters Green complex across the street, 95 Steeplechase. I just wanted to appreciate everything that you guys have communicated here, and I just want to raise some issues as a resident who's been in the area for a while, and just maybe some suggestions. I was just wondering if you guys had considered making a rotary at the intersection of Lewis, Foxborough, and Pascone to help eliminate the traffic congestion that we currently have. We also have a lot of speeding going on. 2 of our signs have actually been taken out by speeders, and that might just help the flow of traffic a little bit better versus a traffic light or a crosswalk. So I didn't know if that was considered. And then my other suggestion would be to actually not consider putting a crosswalk there. right now, we actually have a lot of people that are walking through our complex from the industrial businesses down the street. And we have an increase of traffic through our own private property, and allowing another apartment complex to come through ours would just add more traffic that we would not really want in our complex. We also currently have issues with other people walking their dogs and animals through our complex, leaving their dog remains on the ground and not picking it up. So that would just be another concern. And if you guys are not looking to put a sidewalk down the whole entire side of the southbound side of Lewis, that would eliminate them having to cross the street with a crosswalk as well. So those are just some traffic concerns, as well as if there's going to be any increased lighting on Lewis Street, because right now this corner is where you're projecting is very dark, especially at nighttime, which probably is contributing to some of the accidents that we're having here. And then the other thought was, I know that there was comments talking about the increased traffic on Lewis Street up to Main and the Pike. And if there was consideration of making a right turn only out of your proposed complex onto Pascone only, so that you would not be able to make a left to Pascone and then eventually a right to go eastbound on Lewis, and then just make a left-hand turn out of Lewis only to go westbound on Lewis towards Willard Avenue. So those would just be my comments and potential suggestions to help with the traffic situation as it is at hand. We already have a traffic situation with accidents and speeding on Lewis Street.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else, Eric?
No one online has their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
So this would be a point if, call if anyone else in the room would like to speak.
Anyone else in the room wants to speak?
Yep. So,
Against this? No?
all right, so I'd say the applicant can respond to it, and I'm sorry for, this is a little out of order. I wanted to mention it before, especially with the applicant maybe coming back up for a rebuttal too. But there were a couple items that were discussed, I know by Commissioner Rice Davis as well too. There was a recommendation from staff as part of the marketing plan, noted as far as when it, putting it in the paper, but there might be other opportunities and they might want to consider advertising and postings at the library, housing authority, things like that, schools, places where those least likely to apply, because that's what's mentioned in the applicant's affordability plan, is seeking those that are least likely to apply. So that would be a recommendation of staff that they could update their affordability plan. And, we had a discussion, with the applicant, with Mr. Snow prior to it, and seemed he was amenable to that. The one item we also brought up, again, the utilities, they are based, per the applicant, you can ask if you would like to as well too, but based off their existing site in Berlin, that $150, staff did kind of raise that question of, is that realistic in the current market? And the applicant did answer to me that yes, based upon the performance of his existing stock, that he's built pretty much the exact same type of buildings as this, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's based on that. And then just the evenly distributed part of the affordability plan. Again, there's a reporting requirement as part of the affordability plan every year. I think it's an 830H requirement where it actually gets reported to the town. And we would just ask that the applicant have kind of that dispersion throughout. We wouldn't be asking for every specific unit. We don't need to know who is an affordable renter and who is not. There should be no stigma attached to any of that. That's not really, the business of it. But I think just saying in this area of the site, in this area of the site, that they're relatively distributed and just kind of providing that. Again, an applicant has a very tough time saying what happens when you have someone who met the affordability requirement and then their income increased. You do not want to unhouse that person. So you have to then, the next one that comes available, move that to an affordable unit. So the practicalities is you can't lock them to a specific unit. It's unworkable, but just having it said, yes, there's in the front quarter, basically divided into 3 or something and say there's here, there, this, just to keep the same evenly distributed. That's kind of the, one of the main crux of 830G and affordable housing is that everything is as evenly distributed as possible, even in a development, but also the goal of affordable housing for towns is it's distributed evenly throughout the town as well. So that's kind of those additional comments I wanted to make on the record on the affordability plan. And then if the applicant, I'd recommend that if you like the applicant, if they would like to address any of the public comments, now would be a great time.
Attorney Andrew Moran for the record. Yes, we met prior to this and we'd agreed to, if the commission finds it acceptable and needed to expand our horizons to market it to those least likely to apply, whether that be flyers in town hall, the library. We're amenable to some sort of condition like that. With respect to the affordability plan, we have set out the specific units that are proposed as affordable. So when it comes to, the distribution, what's on our plans, it is what it is. Like our affordable units are distributed on the civil plans, and that's how we're opting to do that rather than a pro rata distribution on a first come, first served basis, which is what I think Mr. Dixon is referring to. But on our plan, the units are where they are, and we believe they're evenly distributed. And then the last point, we heard some comment about traffic. I would just refer the commission back to Mr. Hesketh's traffic report that showed no abnormal crash patterns in the area, and a very minor level of service change would result just to one intersection. I can't name it off the top of my head as a result of the proposed development. So, and just my last comment with respect to the 150 being monthly expenses, these are brand new buildings. They're efficient, water saving, plumbing features, efficient heating. So that kind of gives a reason why the utilities, we calculated them the ways we did. And then, it's an average as well, right? Because in the winter, they're a little bit more expensive. You have your heat running all the time. In the spring, they're less expensive. You got your windows open. So that's why we came up with the 150. And I just thank you again for your time. Unless there's any more questions, I'll defer the rest of my time.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you just maybe or comment back to what Mr. Dickinson was saying about how, what happens if you have an applicant or you have a renter in an affordable housing, like the set apartment, and then they have an increase in income? How are you still gonna how are you gonna fix that so you still have the same number of affordable units?
So in our affordability plan, it reads like a contract.
Yep.
And there's an application part that someone who wants to rent one of these things has to fill out. And one of the conditions on that agreement is that if they have some sort of qualifying event where, let's say they got a significant raise or they got some sort of inheritance that would take them out of that qualifying, then they're not able to renew their lease.
Okay.
So we're bound by that in our affordability plan.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions from the commission? Okay. Before we go any further, Paul, I'd like you to get a hold of Lieutenant Ryan Dean and find out about making a right turn only at the top of Lewis Street. That was there at one time, and then it was removed.
Under Ed Meehan,
Sorry?
under Ed Meehan, you could
Yeah.
only do a right hand.
And you can ask about a rotary. I'd like to get his input into that place. Yeah, the police department hasn't looked at this, am I correct?
No, I have not gotten comments. Well, I've sent it to the LTA, to Ryan Dean. I don't believe I've got comments back, but now that we have this crosswalk location, and I do just want to kind of address, I believe it's in Schedule B of the affordable housing plan. I believe it actually is a pro rata distribution. That's talked on there 1-to-1. But yeah, I get you as far as that. But to answer that question, to not unhouse people, that's the goal of this whole thing, of not to make sure. I think the applicant needs some flexibility in being able to offer some units if one of those affordable units becomes, the tenant is no longer qualifying, not to unhouse them.
Okay, thank you. All right, what's the commission's pleasure? Want to close this or we want to keep it open for next meeting?
Yep, so Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt. The one thing I just put the general spiel out there. If you have any questions for the applicant, and this was something that was brought up by Commissioner Woods earlier too. If there are specific items that you would like to see or need to see that are listed as the conditions of something the applicant has agreed to, this would be a good time to let them know too. They do have staff's comments. That's a good time to provide all the commission's comments on what you're asking of the applicant to show you. And then let's see, from there, I think and if you have any, again, questions like that, if you have any questions for the LTA, if you have any questions for me, questions for just in general or more information you need, it is recommended to keep the public hearing open to get those questions again on the record. Again, kind of noted in the staff report that as part of the 830G process, that all the information based upon your decision is contained in the record. So if you do need more information, that should be part of the record.
As I said, I'd like to hear Brian Dean's response on this. I'd also like to, and I don't know if this is possible, to get a plan with all of the changes for the gate, for instance, modify the plan for the gate. And, show exactly where the snow is going to be stored and stuff like that. So the questions we raised, I'd like to get an up-to-date set of plans. Okay,
Good.
I know it's going to take some time. I don't know how long it takes, but I'd like to get that because, what we agreed to here, what you agreed to with the the fire chief and Paul, I'd like to put them on the plan so we have them. So we can get a complete picture if that's possible.
Understood.
Okay. So I'd like to entertain a motion to keep it open for another week. Or to the next meeting.
To continue the public hearing.
Yep, so it'd be a motion to continue, I believe a motion to continue the public hearing to the next regularly scheduled meeting of February 11th, 2026.
Okay.
I'd like to make that motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh,
Okay. Want to read it?
What would be?
go ahead,
you
read
can-
it.
Yeah,
Petition TPZ 25-28, site plan for a 41-unit rental apartment home development under CGS Section 8-30G Affordable Housing Application at 103 Lewis Street in the PD Plan Development Zone. Applicant Premier Real Estate Services 2 LLC, owner Innate Investments LLC, contact Andrew R. Moran Esquire. Motion to continue the public hearing. Move to continue the public hearing for application TPZ 25-28 to the February 11, 2026 regular meeting.
Okay. All in favor?
What,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Opposed? Yes.
is there going to be a discussion? I've got a couple questions before we vote on
Okay.
this.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'm still not quite sure, and maybe the applicant and the town planner are comfortable with this. What are we asking them to do? What are they gonna have on the plan for us? Because I don't want them to bring us a plan at the next meeting and then, well, now we want this and now we want that. I think we need to be more specific. And if I'm wrong, the applicant and the planner can step right in and say, no, we're good. I'm trying not to send them down this, wild goose chase. Most of the stuff, I believe, can be handled internally through staff and the town engineer, in the police department. They're going to decide where the appropriate place for the crosswalk is. So I don't know that we need to be involved in that. We're going to look to them for their guidance anyways. But I would like to hear from Attorney Moran and the planner that they're comfortable with the direction that you have given them to work out for the next meeting, February 11th. If they're comfortable, I'm ready to vote.
yep. So I think the way that I heard it is, again, the fire access, to show that on the plan, snow storage, kind of those updates that are part of that, look at those life safety type of issues. The landscaping probably could be updated and shown. I think that'll be easy enough if you're doing it, but as much can be done. I will happily work with the applicant. You've kind of directed some, but if you would like to say specifically right now what items, that would provide clarity to the applicant.
Attorney Moran?
And it's within your purview to continue the public hearing, but one thing I might add is even if the public hearing closes, we still have that comprehensive list that we provided at tab 2 of the supplemental materials. I think that when you go through that, and I know it's 10 pages and it's smaller font, but when you go through that, there's a lot of good stuff about how exactly we propose to respond to the comments that have arisen.
That's one of the reasons I want to read this and go through it. I just got this tonight again, as I said. That's why I'd like to keep hearing open. That's my point.
And,
I mean,
Mr. Chairman,
the landscape, I'm sorry, Commissioner Woods, go ahead.
No, when you're done, I have one more question. You
Sorry.
ready for me? Or you're done?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I know, and I apologize, it's difficult when you do these Zoom meetings and that they're hybrid. It becomes a little bit challenging. Like sometimes I see you guys, sometimes I just hear voices. I don't see you at all. But tonight, actually, it's not going that bad. I see most of you. But Commissioner Kane brought up an issue on the number of affordable housing units. And Attorney Moran did address it. And I think I agree with Attorney Moran's position. It's a very fluid thing, so you have to accept some number. And until that number changed, that's the number you live with until the state changes it. But is there going to be, are we looking for, he asked for a town attorney's opinion. Is that what we're looking for? I don't want to come
Is
to
that
the
what you're
meeting
asking,
again on the
Commissioner?
11th and find out that, you know.
Is that what you're
he's-
asking?
Yeah, I was asking for the number of affordable housing units that have been built since September 2024 when the list was published.
Okay.
And I looked at the statute. I don't see anything that says that that list is dispositive and that the actual number is irrelevant.
Paul?
Yep, so I will look into that. Again, Attorney Moran did provide a concise answer on that as well.
Well, he cited to
ungoverned.
830G.
Yeah, ungoverning on 830G, yes, but I will look into that. Again, it's under 830G. We are working underneath that statute. So.
Do you have a subsection?
The Department of Housing has, and I can't state this frankly enough, hundreds of pages of regulations that they publish that. And I can't give you quotes off the top of my head. I don't remember the specific provisions of the regulations, but there are sections upon sections upon sections of regulations that govern how affordable units are counted on a yearly basis, and then how the Department of Housing, who is ultimately tasked with assembling that list, compiles them all together. So I do not have the specific sites, the regulations. 830G, the statute, more or less says that the 10% is what governs the manner, the procedure for how they come up with that 10% list is in those regulations. So I apologize in advance. I don't have the specific section to the regs.
Okay, Commissioner?
I mean, that didn't answer my question.
Okay.
So.
Paul, can you
No.
get those specific sections?
Yep,
for-
again, I will review what was said tonight and, again, put that together. Again, well, not put that together, I should say, I will review what has been said tonight. And, if I can find something in those regulations one way or another, and have a discussion with the town attorney as well. But again, it is typically that, yes, this is governed off of that list by the DOH. That is the only official number that the town has for how much affordable housing we have counted under the 830G statute.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Harpy.
If this should unfortunately go through the courts, the judge is just gonna look at what he's got in front of him, the statute that applies to the unfairly, I agree with you, unfairly applies to us and other communities. He's just gonna make a decision that that's not part of it. Because I was given a report on the number, the judges that have no zoning background at all. You know their answers? We don't need one. We look at it in terms of what's in the statute. So I just don't see that as something they may, and I'm not arguing against it. I'm just saying the judge is going to rule on the legislation in front of them. That's going to be it. But I'll
If we
tell you
disagree
one-
with, sorry.
just one thing that does concern me and others is that we had a report done recently on the town center, residents around that area. And according to this report, high demand is for strong demand for 55 and 65 rental units, people at 55 and 65, as well as independent assisted living options. And that doesn't have any protection. You can build them
Or not.
or not. So it's not easy for us either, is what I'm saying. I think you do quality work. I don't have an issue with quality, and you're concerned for who goes in there and lives there. I think that's a tribute to you guys. But it's a little frustrating for us. to support my colleagues' comments on that. It is tough. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
We all set?
Okay, so the motion, just since it's been a moment since the motion, good amount of discussion,
All
just.
right, I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So I'm looking at, the original application, section tab 8, page 24, change of income. It says option to vacate the unit within 90 days. And then, like, as you said, or remain in the unit. But then when I was looking at the application where you were mentioning
So, Mr.
before.
Sorry,
Billy-
Commissioner Rice Davis,
Yeah.
I do not mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to venture a little down into actually public hearing again, rather than
Okay.
discussing on the motion. If you do want to ask additional questions tonight, I would recommend, if you would like to rescind the motion, based on discussion, have more discussion, and then make a motion again, that would be good, but it's just going a little far out of, again, the motion for
What motion are
discussion.
we discussing?
You are discussing the motion to,
Continue the hearing.
continue the public hearing.
Oh,
We
that's
already
fine, I
voted
can-
to approve that.
No,
No.
Commissioner Woods interrupted us.
Right.
Uh,
and
Yeah,
we
for
didn't
discussion.
vote.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I
I
was also
voted.
talking. I'm
Again.
sorry, I can hold till next
All right.
meeting.
So again, we're gonna be
Yep.
voting on a motion to continue this till February
11.
11th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Gonna continue this to that, okay? Thank you. Okay, old business, Paul? Okay, new business, I mean, petitions for scheduling.
Approval of minutes.
So, yeah, the next one is approval of minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry, approval of the minutes,
I wasn't here.
okay? For January 14th. Do I hear a motion to approve? Is there a second?
My name is misspelled.
Okay, please correct that. You know what page it's on?
I think it's every time it
You'll
appears.
figure it out.
Yep. So again, that will be going forward. Just remind the commission again with new commission members too. Typically, when minutes are done, if there are revisions to it, those revisions are noted in the next set of minutes that kind of go back to it, but the original minutes aren't changed themselves, just to kind of give you a heads up on the process.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to accept the minutes. All in favor?
Need a second.
Aye. Sir?
I just needed a second for that motion.
Oh, is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Joe. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries.
I'll just abstain because I wasn't.
Yeah, I wasn't here
Fine.
either. I'll
All right, so
abstain.
there's two abstentions.
That's four.
I'm sorry?
5, yeah, we still have 5.
Okay. There'll be two,
Yep. two
abstentions.
Yes.
Gia wasn't here and
Right.
Commissioner Davis wasn't here. All right. Old business, Paul?
So none, so I think, again, we had new business, which is this item, which is unable to be acted upon. Public hearing is still open. What will happen now is this item will now go from new business to old business on the next agenda, which means if an application comes in, you'll be able to handle that application ahead of time and then to the
Right.
next. So there is no old business,
Any petitions for scheduling?
none received.
Town planners report? I
Yep.
guess we covered that.
So I don't have too much for you tonight. You have a lot of information that's been put in front of you. What I will say is, we had a discussion about the zoning, potentially amendments in the future and the desire to have a subcommittee. I've had a lot of questions on that too, and just to remind everyone, this is early in the process. No subcommittee has been set yet. It'll have to be discussed, how it gets formed, who is on it, and what its kind of charge is. So again, that's the process. I got lots of questions. When's it happening? The other thing, it will be done. But that's the kind of the direction I've been given from the TPZ. And then, there's, level of interest and how this gets split between TPZ members, whether there's members of council on it, whether there's additional members. This would be something to think about. Again, this will be a large process that the town will be involved in, is the key thing. And yes, while A subcommittee is the one who will provide recommendations to the TPZ, that there will be business outreach. I will have meetings here, I'll have meetings in the town center, at businesses. I will do my best to reach out to as many people as I can about any implications or effects any zone changes could have on them. So again, just to remind everyone, this is early in the process, but I have had very much interest in it. So there is a lot of interest in getting this thing going.
Will you be meeting with the chamber on this?
Yes, yeah, the chamber will be a part of it too, just like during the town center plan, there was a chamber representative on it as well. So yeah, the chamber is a key part of what happens in the town center and the town.
Let me know when a chamber meeting is. I'd like to attend that. Okay. All right. Any communications?
None, although the one thing I could send out there was, forgot the exact address for this thing. It's up at the mall in Farmington. We did get it's just a big Y that's proposed to go in there in an intermunicipal notice. So that I believe it's up on the actual mall parcel itself that they were looking at potentially putting a big Y up there. We got an intermunicipal notice. I can share that with the commission.
As a freestanding building.
As a freestanding, I believe, yes. I haven't seen all the plans, but we did get that notice, just to tell you, because we get them, so to inform you as well, but no official communications.
Thank you. Second round of public participation. Maybe wish you to speak, please come up, state your name and address for the record.
No one online has their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anybody in the room? Okay, thank you. Remarks by commissioners. Are there any remarks by the commissioners?
I just viewed this subcommittee as a subcommittee of the TPC to review with Paul and others what he likes about the changes, what he thinks are not workable or workable. And I don't think we're destined to make any dramatic changes unless it was recommended by administration. I didn't want to see it get bifurcated to the case where now the council's got involved in it. They have enough to do. I mean, we would take their input, we would hope that they would take ours. But I think you got to limit the number of people who become members at large. Subcommittee, it's just a subcommittee. Not a criticism. It's my opinion on it.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd just like to reply to that. Yes, there are decisions and recommendations I make, and then there are decisions like how this subcommittee is formed that are town decisions. Beyond me as the town planner saying, this is the committee, this is what it's going to be. So again, will be part of the discussion. Again, the regulations are the TPZ's regulations. So this is something I think that will be worked out in all the discussions, but it is something that does need to be figured out who the membership is.
Yeah.
Well noted.
Okay, well, you got my opinion on it.
Yep.
Any other commissioner comments? Well, my strong suggestion is that, when this committee is formed, all right, that I think we need to go forward from where we are and not take the report and start from ground zero again. Okay, I think that we did a great job. We had a great consultant. Kimberly did an excellent job on this, and we need to expound on it, not just rip it apart. That's my opinion. Okay, so I think that needs to be done. I think, we need to have a small committee, not a huge committee. And I don't know, one of the things that always has bothered me, we have meetings at night. Maybe what we can do is try to schedule something at the senior center for a couple of meetings or one meeting, whatever you think is best. I'd like to do the library. Okay. And in here. So those would be my strong suggestions. A lot of seniors that are over at the senior center during the day, they might have some additional input to it. You go to the library, some people come there at night, and have their options, or here. So I don't know how often this room is going to be used. I certainly don't want to go up on the second floor because I'll never find a way out. But anyway, That's my opinion. Okay, so we'll keep it to somewhat of a reasonable amount of people on the committee. Okay. And like I said, I think that the committee, once it's formed, would need to go and get a copy of Kimberly's report and read it thoroughly. Okay, because she did go through a great, or her staff went through a great amount of time doing stuff and pointing this out. We had, I don't know how many meetings, probably 10. I can't remember. And we had a lot of people in here to put their input into it. And I want to keep that's valuable to me. All right, because, you know, they may see something I don't, or maybe you don't, or anybody else, this commission doesn't. But I want to hear from what people have to say. As I said, this is open and transparent. It's going to stay that way. And again, I want to emphasize to everybody out there, there's been no zone changes. Okay, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All right. All right. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Good night, everyone.